There's been a lot of love for Metroid on this channel recently. With Metroid Dread releasing, it only seems right that we focus on Ridley, one of the series' most popular and important characters. On the surface, Ridley appears like he may be a mindless creature, roaming space with blood on his mind. While the latter is true to an extent, Ridley is an intelligent foe. Mapping out plans and acting with clear focus, he's determined. His core design is unnerving to match his threatening attack patterns. Despite being one of Nintendo's most beloved villains, he didn't always look so threatening. Often depicted as a dragon-like alien mixed with a pterodactyl, Ridley is a scary-looking enemy. He's been a thorn in Samus' side since the series first debuted, the space pirate coming back to haunt her in many shapes, art styles, materials, and forms. Today we'll examine his design evolution, how big he actually was, and conclude with a design that is top tier. As always, want to help the channel out, click the like button and subscribe to the channel, much appreciated. Alongside Kraid and Mother Brain, Ridley was one of the first Metroid antagonists. You'd think, given his legacy, his first appearance would be an epic one. Yeah, maybe not. Ridley's first appearance is a little anticlimactic if you know the character in the modern day. He appears to be a dragon-like dinosaur with a large lower body and a small wingspan. He'd established design staples such as the sprite's tail, claws, and the purple colour scheme. His sprite was similar in scale to Samus's, making him seem like a regular enemy more than a big boss battle. Game art for Metroid wasn't consistent. He was blue in the American official artwork, and you can see at a glance how little these designs match up. Ridley's head is the biggest change, rarely resembling a dragon or dinosaur at all. Instead, looking like a leech or a multi-eyed insect. Outside of that, he has the key features from in-game, including a small set of wings. I love this depiction of Ridley, and how much it stands out from his future iterations. Whilst it maintains the tail and wings that would become design staples, it's far more alien as a concept. It's much harder to comprehend what he actually is. I'd love to see this design come back, even if it was a different enemy or a Ridley copycat. Maintaining the blue, the Japanese artwork took the design in a different direction. It displayed Ridley in a chibi, childlike form, with adorable little wings, big purple eyes, and a snaggletooth here and there. It's hard to believe these three depictions are the same character. It's an eye-opener to how Nintendo once operated with a disconnected global strategy. From a purple mesh of pixels to a cute pocket-sized dragon, Ridley needed to find his identity. Speaking of cute dragons, today's video is sponsored by Dragon City. Yep, that's the segue. Ridley is a dragon. I'm out of ideas. In Dragon City, you can collect over 1,000 different dragons and build your own dragon empire. Breed 2 dragons to get new ones, then hatch and feed them in order to evolve. Train your dragons and take them into battle to make them more powerful. Then take on friends and other dragon masters in multiple PvP modes. If you check out the game via the install link in the description, you'll get a special free reward, 15,000 food and 30,000 gold and 10 whole gems. Whoa! This offer will be valid for new users only, and you'll have 7 days to claim. Breed those dragons, beat those friends, gawk at cute dragons in Dragon City. Available now and free to play on both Android and iOS. Let's kick cute designs into space now, because with the next Metroid game, Nintendo stepped up with the next stage in Ridley's evolution. I sang the praises of Super Metroid when I analysed the designs of Samus in a past retrospective. It wasn't kind to her design alone though, giving her rival a new sense of life. Appearing in the game's opening moments, featuring a horrifying reveal, Ridley emerges with a new design and an unwinnable boss battle. He towers over Samus this time around, but that isn't the only thing that has changed. His feet are now bidactyl, and his head is narrower, with a long bent neck that resembles a pterodactyl. Other features that were there before have improved. His wings are now far greater in scale, and the character has a scrappy and skinny look about him. He was bright red on the game's box art and in most of the official promotional material. Despite this, Super Metroid showed he was developing consistency and recognisable traits. To me, this is the first true appearance of Ridley, with his design being such a clear step up from the original game. It's very clear how much this redesign shaped the future of the character. It's the most significant redesign in his history. Ridley's pixels continued to develop with Nintendo's own hardware, as he would next appear in Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance. The X-parasite which had infected Samus's power suit emerged yet again, this time finding and infecting what appears to be Ridley's fossilized carcass. This set of fossils resembled Ridley's sprite from Super Metroid. Canonically, it can't be the same character, and I'll have more to say on that one later. As well as a jump in sprite fidelity, Ridley, or Neo Ridley, gets another huge size increase. The boss was so big and moved around so much that the GBA could even end up lagging during the battle. It's another change of colour schemes too. As he takes damage, he changes from dark blue to purple to red. I'm unsure if this is intentional, but it does reference all his previous colour schemes. As well as this, his limbs are larger and his body feels extra cramped and uncomfortable. The design gave me the impression that he'd become a mindless brute, a change from a cold and calculating enemy. It makes sense given the X-parasite is within him. Metroid Prime also saw Ridley saved from the brink of destruction, his remains salvaged after the original Metroid and reconstructed into a cyborg form. Now dubbed Meta Ridley, he continued to grow into a larger-than-life spectacle. His now iconic design was reimagined, including several new cybernetic enhancements. While we can still see parts of his original body, Ridley now has a large metal frame. Features like his wings, head, neck and limbs are now replaced with metal. His wingspan is huge, but the actual bulk of them appears to be a synthetic creation. As the battle rages on, these wings burn up, leaving hollowed bone-like structures. This evolution would continue throughout the Metroid Prime series. In Prime 3, the Phazon infuses Ridley, transforming him yet again. Compared to his previous form, Omega Ridley has less mechanical components. His body appears to be regenerating, which is pushing out for his armor from within. Metroid Zero Mission, a remake of the original Metroid, would release following Prime. If a game ever needed a remake on the GBA, it was this one. The SNES had redefined what the vibe of Metroid was, and as a result, improved Ridley. Given the similar power of the handheld and the console, it was natural to see this remake take place here. For this reason, the Ridley featured here derives from what we had seen before, with many elements from Super Metroid now present in his design. Colour consistency remained an issue. This Ridley used a darker colour palette with a red set of wings. It did at least match up with the game's official artwork very well at least. Ridley's scale was superior to that of the SNES, matching up with Neo Ridley from Fusion. While technically not Ridley, Zero Mission would also feature Mecha Ridley. That's right, an incomplete robotic weapon constructed in the character's own image. It's implied that Ridley himself made this robot. I don't understand how this was possible. Can't see him handling a wrench personally. Metroid Other M had a lot of shoes to fill when it announced it was going to be an official sequel to Super Metroid. Though many elements of the game ended up confusing long-time fans of the series, Ridley's design was no different. Ridley, as a character, died at the end of Super Metroid, but the character we face here is his exact clone. This makes his appearance here so confusing, as he was given a significant redesign. This iteration of Ridley is muscular beyond belief, with his upper and lower body stacked, far removed from the scrawny dinosaur we'd fought in Super Metroid. He now has prominent thumbs, maybe a designer didn't understand how he made that robot either. His pointed tail wasn't dangerous enough before apparently, as now it's an actual dagger blade, made from a similar component to his claws. Along with the sharpened tail, his claws are longer. Extra sharp protrusions now come from his arms, side of his head, and wings. He has a much flatter mouth too, which reminds me of a bird's beak. Birds apply to this design as it goes. The clone was born in his original form first off, a small white feathered cute creature with sharp teeth, clearly resembling a chick. Samus dubbed this form Little Birdie, and allowed it to keep on living, running into the creature many times in the game's story, not knowing what he would turn into. We'd see this creature go through its life cycle, with the mid-stage Ridley walking on all fours and growing out his feathers. Notably, the tail and purple skin had formed, with this form adding some lizard into the design. I'm torn on this version of Ridley, probably with a slight level of negative bias due to how the game's plot played out. On one hand, I don't like how much of a departure this feels like from the previous Ridley design. It's a bit confusing when you think about how it sits chronologically. At the same time, it's hard to ignore how threatening this design makes Ridley look. I love the introduction of the primitive forms, and how these develop throughout the game. Seeing one of the cuter Metroid animals grow into one of the most horrific is fascinating to behold. Neo Ridley, who I mentioned earlier, is technically formed from this one, implying that this is indeed a clone of the Ridley from the original Super Metroid. It's no doubt the result of having a reactive timeline, but it doesn't make the design any easier to swallow. Samus Returns to the Nintendo 3DS emerged as a reimagining of Metroid 2, breathing 3D into the 2D. Despite having no involvement in the original, Ridley showed up as a surprise final boss. Proteus Ridley is a direct continuation of Ridley's Metroid Prime evolution. It feels redundant saying it yet again, but he is bigger yet again. It's the biggest he's appeared in a 2D game by some margin. It's wild to think about how much bigger the boss has got in the battles between his first and last game entries. We can see more of his purple skin and wings, with regeneration of his body continuing to take place. Some areas of the armour feature neon glowing segments, radiating energy from within, adding a satisfying new colour to his palette. The character artwork that graces the Proteus Ridley form is some of the best featured in the series. You can make out key elements of Ridley that are still present, parts of his wings, a majority of his skull, his torso, one of his arms and one of his legs. His cybernetic parts look more dangerous than ever, with his tail looking like a metal cleaver. Ridley has also had a historical involvement in the Super Smash Bros. Series. Starting small, his roles became more prolific with each new game release. In the original, he appeared in the background of Planet Zebes stage. Using a sprite reminiscent of Super Metroid, this cameo was a cool Easter egg. In Melee, he appeared in the FMV opening cutscene, mid-battle with Samus. This caused speculation to begin about his inclusion as a playable character. He was also an unlockable trophy, again based on the Super Metroid design. Brawl crushed playable character expectations yet again. He appeared in the Subspace Emissary mode as an impressive boss character in both his standard and Meta Ridley forms. He was far too big to be playable. In Smash Bros. For Wii U, I thought he was going to end up being playable now. It really felt like the time, with my excitement peaking when he had his own specific section in a Smash Bros. Direct. Unfortunately, he was still yet to be playable. His other end design appeared as a stage hazard, with him coming to your aid if you dealt enough damage to him. It felt like a strange cop-out not to make him playable. Finally, with the revelation of Smash Bros. Ultimate, Ridley's time had arrived, storming into the fray with a cinematic trailer where he murdered Mario. Lovely. His hunched up stance made him appear shorter to better blend in with the cast, though a character taunt revealed he could actually stand upright, towering over foes. It feels like a modernisation of Super's design with a thin set of limbs and body, and a new level of detail. The texture of his skin looks great, giving a real sense of him being this feral space creature. His inclusion in the game felt like an end of an era of campaigning, with Meta Ridley also arriving as an alternate costume. So that's Ridley, a character who started with inconsistent and unimpressive beginnings. He would go on to find life in a redesign that would redefine his perception. He has a variety of polished designs, which makes selecting a best one another arduous task. Of course, Super Metroid is a classic, and was right at the top of my Samus designs list too. Can't overstate how much it improved about Ridley, making him seem like a serious threat for the first time. I love how Zero Mission improved on the detail present from the SNES. Despite the colour differences, this Ridley is an intimidating foe. It's such an improvement from the original game, including the best elements of what Super Metroid introduced at a much larger scale. But if I have to be honest, I have to go with Meta Ridley from Metroid Prime as my best Ridley design. I love the implementation of cybernetic body parts, his new metal neck, wings and tail especially. He was already a cunning, dangerous foe, but these additions bring him up to the next level. They also have you questioning whether this character will finally kick the bucket. It's one of the best sizes for the character too. The 3D viewpoint helps emphasise this, making for a memorable boss encounter, often feeling claustrophobic and dangerous when he is up close. Samus Returns Proteus Ridley would go on to be a fantastic reimagining of this design. So that's it from me, but what did you think? Do you agree with me, or is there another Ridley design you prefer? Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like the video if you want to help the channel out. I'd like to thank my patrons for helping support the channel, with a special thank you to top tier patron Proggy Froggy, who's donating at the top tier. If you'd like to find out how to have your name announced at the end of every video, as well as access videos like this early, head on over to Patreon.